Hey everybody, Billy Bob here. It's Monday, and that means it's Monday morning quarterback Monday college football edition. Before we get started, I just want to say condolences go out to the Mangold family. Nick Mangold, 41 years old, passed away yesterday, kidney disease, was an Ohio State Buckeye, 3 years. He started 33 games at Ohio State. And then he was drafted ahead of the presumed best center in college football. He was drafted first round, number 29, by the New York Football Jets. 7-time Pro Bowler and Jets Ring of Honor recipient or member. So, 41 years old, regardless of what you do, who you are, it's way too young. So rest in peace, Nick Mangold. Second, let's move it forward here. We got, as I've alluded to, I've teased it a couple times. Sounded like Brian Kelly when he went to LSU, right? Although that wasn't a Bayou accent. Teased some program changes. Stay tuned for that. I'm thinking we'll do that Wednesday. Tuesday is Monday Morning Quarterback NFL edition, so stay tuned for that. Stay tuned Wednesday. We're talking about some programming changes. I think most of you like them. Every once in a while, I can't please everybody. Nobody, but I think we're going to separate some things, and I think that'll make people happy. So, I'm all about making people happy. Let's see, what else we got here? Captain Kurtz. So this Saturday, the Buckeyes play at noon, big noon kickoff against the Penn State Nittany Lions. We'll preview that later in the week. But if you're down in the southwest Florida area, Sarasota, Bradenton, Venice, Nokomis, Osprey, Captain Kurt, and you're a Buckeye fan, go to Captain Kurtz, Siesta Key, home of the Buckeyes for like 24 years, Game Watch, Ohio State alumni. And they can hold up to 400 or 500, maybe even up to 600 people. So it's always a great time. I got to get there. We got to get there, but it won't be this Saturday. All right? So, also, I love to promote the OHIO podcast. Eric, Wildman, Dr. Cory, and their special guests. Then they have other shows, spin-off shows, with Sean Strock and TG and Mika, and on it goes, a lot of stuff. But I was listening today while I was riding my bike, and we're going to talk about bicyclists here in the next day or two. I got a rant about bicyclists, and I am a bicyclist, but, there are a couple things that really ground my grits this morning on my way to Planet Fitness. So, but anyway, speaking of grinding my grits, I was listening to as I'm riding my bike today, the Sunday night roundtable show, and Dr. Cory. In fact, I want to know, where is Dr. Cory right now? I want to know. Dr. Cory, you talked about Brian Kelly as like a car salesman or used car salesman. You use it as a derogatory term. Well, stay tuned, Dr. Cory. As I said in my comments on the YouTube channel, do not paint all car salesmen, paint in quotation marks, you know what I'm talking about, with that broad brush of yours. Now, I'm willing to talk. We can have a discussion. We're reasonable people. That's what Larry Daniels tells me all the time. Reasonable people. But Dr. Cory, mind yourself, young man. All right, let's get to college football. College football this week. There was a lot of games. A lot of them were predictable. Some of them were really unpredictable. What was unpredictable is the injuries. And one of the things they were talking about in the OHIO podcast was quarterbacks running. Do you think they'll let say and run this week against Penn State because Penn State or Jim Knowles was not very good defending running quarterbacks. Well, I think Ryan Day might revisit that after this past week. Arch Manning goes down, probably a game, maybe 2 games, hard hit, concussion. Bo Perbula at Missouri, torn or stretched or torn ligaments and a badly sprained ankle, out for quite possibly the rest of the season, at least most of the rest of the season. We got Will Hammond, the Texas A&M quarterback. Looks like he's torn ACL, out for the rest of the year. And he replaced a guy named Barron, but it's not spelled like Barron. It's spelled Behren, I believe. Baron Morton, who was the starting quarterback for Texas Tech at the beginning of the year. He got hurt. Will Hammond replaced him. Now Hammond's out for the rest of the year. Not sure if Baron Morton is going to be healthy enough to play the rest of the season. We'll find out. And lastly, Dante Moore, quarterback at Oregon, got hurt in the third quarter. You know, Oregon was struggling in the third quarter against Wisconsin. That game was, I believe, it was a 7-7 tie at the half, and it was a 7-0 game at the half. Oregon winning 7-0. They win 21-7. You know, in Oregon against a team that's 2-6. But anyway, Dante Moore got whacked, bloody nose. It was in the third quarter. He wasn't having a good game. I know it was raining and all that, but hey, dudes, even Ohio State, we got to figure it out. You know, maybe we need a rain game just so we know what it is. But third quarter, Dante Moore, 9 of 15, 86 yards, no touchdowns. Very, as I like to say, pedestrian. Oh, before we get to games, we just got to talk about this because it was on my list of things to talk about. I heard the podcast boys talking about it from yesterday. But coaching jobs. So a 3 weeks ago, the best opening for a coaching job was Penn State, right? Then the Florida job comes open, the LSU job comes open. I think the Oklahoma State job came open before that. UCLA that was right around the Penn State time, because you remember one of the teams that, in fact, I think it wasn't the nail in the coffin game, the UCLA game. It was the Northwestern game that got James Franklin fired. And then, you know, Arkansas, they fired Sam Pittman. So, but it got me to thinking. This ain't no thinking thing, right? Brain, left brain. I think that was Aaron Tippin, by the way, for those of you that are country music fans. So I was thinking, how many head coaches, you know, because LSU fired Brian Kelly, one of the least favorite coaches. He is just, and Cory, Dr. Cory, I'll give you credit on this one. I give him credit for a lot of stuff, but I want to know what he's thinking on this car salesman thing. But Brian Kelly is an arrogant prick. And it's not just at LSU. It was at Notre Dame. It was at Cincinnati before he got the Notre Dame job. That's just who he is. And then he used that fake accent when he got hired by LSU, kind of like you remember, oh, Hillary, she pulled out the hot sauce. Oh, I carry this little hot sauce everywhere I go. Yeah, right. Come on. Tell the truth. It'll set you free. So I'm thinking, how many coaches is LSU currently paying? Head coaches, right? So Brian Kelly, buyouts about $53 million, they estimate. And all these programs say they need money. They're struggling, but they're paying him $53 million to go away. But his contract, at least they get relief if he gets hired by somebody else. They will pay the difference, or if it's an equivalent amount, they'll pay nothing at all. But So I checked it out, and I thought they might still be, I know it's been a long time, but I thought they might still be paying Les Miles. But Les Miles actually had $1.5 million buyout. I thought it would be a lot more than that. But, because at one time, LSU alumni were willing, and, the big donors, the boosters as they call them, they were willing to pay 21 to 23 million for Les to go away. But he got a whole lot less. He only got about $1.5 million in his buyout. So they're not paying less. So right now they're currently paying 2 coaches. I'm not sure why it's not 3, but they're paying 2 coaches. They're paying Kelly to go away, and they're paying Frank Wilson. Is it Wilson? Frank Wilson, who's the intern head coach, whatever you want to call it. Tomato. I'm not sure why they're not still paying Ed Orgeron, Big Ed, Eddie O, because his buyout was $17 million. Now, he went to court. He was getting divorced at the time. He went to court, because his wife was going to get half, and he went to court to no, it's all mine. Well, guess it wasn't. But that was in 2021, and we're only in 2025. So they still had to pay $17 million, whether it went half to Eddie and half to his ex-wife. So they must have, maybe that was a lump sum buyout. So now they got to pay Brian Kelly. But anyway, LSU, they now think the Penn State job could be the 3rd or even maybe 4th best job. Some say LSU, then Florida, then, I don't know, who else? There can't be, it would have to be, I'm probably missing somebody, because UCLA, Arkansas, and Oklahoma State are not better jobs than Penn State. But, some think that there's a couple guys yet to get fired, and one of those may be a better job. But we know Dabo's not getting fired with a $61 million buyout, right? So, all right, let's just kind of run down. Oh, let me get my mouse. Well, I have to reposition my mouse here where I don't have to look away. So Indiana, pretty predictable. They jumped on UCLA from the start. We kind of thought UCLA might give them a better game, but UCLA's got a number of trips east. And I think for West Coast teams, it's harder than East Coast teams because there's only 4 of them, right? UCLA, USC, Oregon, and Washington. So you can't just play a round robin of those games all the time. They got to come east. And so, when I heard James Franklin, remember a few weeks ago, complaining after they lost to UCLA, who at the time was winless, that, the travel and blah, blah, blah. Well, you only got to do it once, maybe twice in a year, and they got to do it 4 or 5 times. So, there you go, Jimmy boy. Didn't work for you. But anyway, Indiana rolls UCLA. Texas A&M, they rolled UCLA. In fact, they cost Brian Kelly cost himself his frickin' job. A&M did not cost him. But LSU, from everything I heard, I did not see with my very own eyes, as they say, but it appeared like LSU's players kind of laid down. Now, I find it hard to believe that players actually just lay down and quit. Their motivation may have been a lot less, but, they got outscored 35-7 in the second half. It's kind of crazy because LSU was winning 18-14 at halftime, and why would they not be engaged? It doesn't make sense to me. But they just got the crap kicked out of them in the second half. Bama comes back. They score. That game, it was basically a push in the second half, but it was who was going to push in the end. And Bama outlasts a 3-5 South Carolina team in Columbia, South Carolina. Of course, people will say, well, Bama prevailed because They were playing a 3-5 South Carolina team. Other SEC fans will say, well, see, that's how tough the SEC teams are. Even a 3-5 team takes Alabama to the brink. By the way, Ty Simpson, which I have all year, giving him credit. Ty Simpson, Alabama quarterback, 24 of 43, 253 yards, 2 touchdowns, no interceptions. I don't know how much he ran the ball for. As I told you, Oregon struggled with a 2-6 Wisconsin team. At least Wisconsin showed some heart. They showed some grit. They didn't score until the fourth quarter, but it was 7-0 halftime, and they pushed Oregon out in Eugene. So there you go. Georgia Tech keeps rolling. They put it on Syracuse. Of course, Syracuse, 3-5 team. One of these days we're going to talk about, people are like, oh, well, we really need to do some things to create parity in college football. No, we don't. Let it be organic, right? Let it be organic. What does that mean, organic? Let whatever happens, happens. There is more, I won't call it parity. It's more competitive in college football today. They talk about parity in the NFL. There's no parity. Look how many 1-5 teams there are. Look how many, there was a winless team until this week. Now they went, that's for tomorrow. But anyway, just saying. Ole Miss rolled on Oklahoma here, 34-26. I don't know what was rolled on them, but they took it to them. Trinidad Chambliss, there's a guy who's got to be careful. I mean, he's running all over the place, taking hits, not sliding. Yet he had a 24 44, 315 yards and a touchdown. Nice day for him. Miami, slow start, 7-7 halftime against Stanford in Miami. I thought that game was in Stanford, but it's in Miami. And 7-7 halftime, Miami blows them out in the second half, 35-0 second half. Vandy, Missouri, down to the end. Matter of fact, that's the one Bo Perbula bang, out. It was a 4th and 2, I think, where he got hurt late in the game. But Vandy scores late. Missouri had a last shot, and I thought the guy caught the ball. Now, I don't know that he got in, but he caught the ball. They called it incomplete right at the goal line on a Hail Mary. That game very easily could have been tied up. BYU keeps rolling. I think the glimmer, the shine is off Matt Campbell as a Penn State possible replacement for James Franklin. Iowa State's lost either 2 of their last 3 or 3 in a row, but they're now 5-3. Oklahoma State very predictably got their ass kicked, but Texas Tech in the process lost their quarterback. Surprise, 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 North Carolina only lost by 1 point to Virginia, where they've been getting blown out most of the time. Let's keep scrolling here. Keep scrolling, keep rolling. Louisville keeps rolling over Boston College, 1-6. I told my buddy Phil, I said, I think Notre Dame's the only team in college football that gets 3 bye weeks. And he goes, what do you mean 3 bye weeks? We only get 2. They got 1 after the first game, and they had 1 this past week. I go, well, you got another one this week. He's like, what do you mean? What about your schedule? I go, well, we're not playing too many, if any, 1-7 teams, but, you got Boston College, who's suck-a-doodle right now. And so there you go. I'm going to come back to this one game. Texas, tough game. Man, they were down to Mississippi State. I think they scored the last 15, one of which was a 97-yard punt return by, I believe his first name's Ryan Niblick. And they find a way to win, in Stark Vegas. Washington put a whooping on Illinois on the road. That's going to take Illinois out of the top 25, I'm sure. I don't know if that brings Washington at 6-2 in. Washington's lost 2 games. They lost to the Blue in Ann Arbor. and I think that was game was in Ann Arbor, and they lost to Ohio State in Spokane. So, not the two worst losses. Speaking of the Wolverines, the Stinkerines, they beat up on their rival, Michigan State, their other rival, in-state rival, and they ran the ball all over the place. The kid passed the ball pretty well, the kid Underwood. So that's that. Let's come back, finish it off. Cincinnati Bearcats beat the Baylor Bears at, what the hell? Forgot the name of their stadium already. In Cincinnati. Oh, man. I should know it. I know it. Don't have to tell me. I'll remember. In fact, we're going to the highlight reel right now. Anyway, Brendan Sorsby is having a great year. In fact, they were talking about him. Why isn't he in the running for the Heisman? He's got 20 touchdown passes, only 1 interception. He's got 7 running touchdowns, so he's accounted for 27 touchdowns, and they're not going to. Let's go. Come on, you. Oh, by the way, Cincinnati's averaging for the year almost 6 yards a carry, 5.9 yards a carry. So, Nippert. God, why could I not remember that? Nippert Stadium, right there at the University of Cincinnati campus. So, there you go. That's a quick wrap. A little variety, not just scores, not just stats. Stick around. You'll like what I got to say each and every day, although I'm not every day. It's every day I decide I want to do a video. Until we meet again, which will be tomorrow. College football, or don't get ahead of yourself. Sir Talks a Lot. That was a Sir Talks a Lot. Tomorrow, Monday morning quarterback, NFL edition. Till then, America, land of the free, because of the brave. Stay focused, America. Billy Bob, peace out.